Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam. Om Achaturvadano Brahma Dvibahuraparo Harihi Abhalalochana Shambhu Bhagavan Badarayanaha. Om Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutiryasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. Bhagavan Shri Rama, after establishing that no support from actions is required to get rid of ignorance and its effects, gives an entire roadmap for any seeker of knowledge, that one endowed with faith, Shraddha, goes to the Guru, has the instruction, listens to it, and the instruction is of the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. And with the grace of the Guru also, this contemplation slowly not just purifies the mind, but gives the direct experience that I, the individual self, am really that all-pervading supreme consciousness. And then, he says, then be happy. And that state of happiness which is not disturbed or destroyed by any problems, any events, any kind of situation. Aprakampanaha. Like a mountain, one becomes unshakable. Now, how to understand this instruction of Tattvamasi? That is the topic that is being taken up. It is that Tattvamasi word meanings, if we see, first we have to understand what is the meanings of individual words. Then the statement will make sense to us. If the words themselves are not understood, then the statement seems meaningless. That you are. Tat Tvam Asi. So it doesn't seem to be even grammatically correct. How can you say that and you can be the same? So therefore, Padartha, then Vakyartha is possible. So now, looking at Padartha, it was said Tat and Tvam indicate the Paramatma and Jivatma. And Asi is indicating the oneness of the two. Now, how can even Paramatma and Jivatma be the same? Paramatma or Ishvara, let us say. How can Ishvara and Jiva be the same? That which is identified with totality and that which is identified with just one limited individuality, how can these two be the same? So, the question may arise. So, here the methodology has been indicated. Now, before we go into the verse, we just understand a couple of things. Now, if we, even in our common language, if we look at certain words or certain statements that are made, it need not be that its literal meaning will make sense. Sometimes there is something implied by it. No, if, for example, somebody passes a very sarcastic comment. Somebody is coming late and coming late every day. That person is said, "Oh, you have come so early. You are so punctual." Now, the literal meaning is you are punctual means you are on time. But actually, what is meant is I am kind of indicating that you are late every day. It is exactly the opposite meaning. So, the literal meaning has to be completely given up and the intent has to be understood. Sometimes, we also say, "Acha, where is your house?" It is on the highway. So, don't you get hit by trucks? Because the house is on the highway. Now, on the highway literally means it is in between where the vehicles move. But the literal meaning has to be given up. And what has to be known? That it is near the highway. So, the real meaning is actually not what the literal word meaning is. Another example, here the actual literal meaning is given up completely. My house is on the ocean, just in the sea. So, in the sea does not mean I am surrounded by water. It is just nearby. That is what is indicated. So, the in, on, at, that is, which is conveying something else, that whole meaning has to be given up, the literal meaning, and something different has to be understood. So, this is one. Now, there are some kind of expressions where we cannot, again the literal meaning will not make any sense. For example, if there are so many different children are there, then we don't know anybody's name. So we say, "Hey, white t-shirt, you come here." No, white t-shirt, how can white t-shirt come here? I am calling the white t-shirt. Or, "Hey, red cap, you come here." Now, how will red cap come here? It is not. So then, what do we do? Whatever the statement is, in that I have to add something. In what? The one wearing a white t-shirt, come here. So, white t-shirt is required, but I have to add more information, then that literal meaning will give me the indicated meaning also. So, the indicated meaning is different. The literal meaning does not convey the indicated meaning. So, for example, the traditional example is, there is a horse race. And if somebody says, "Red is going to win, red is going to win," or "red is running." Red is running means red color horse is running. Red cannot run. So, similarly, in any such expression, literal meaning doesn't make any sense. I have to look for the indicated meaning. And how is the indicated meaning arrived at? By supplying some extra words to it. Then I know red is running means red color horse is running. "Hey, red cap, come here," means the one wearing a red cap, come here. So, in the previous example, also literal meaning did not make sense, but there what the literal meaning was, that has to be given up and something else has to be understood completely. Whereas in this, we don't have to give up anything, but add more words to the same sentence and it will create a proper sensible statement, which is the indicated meaning. So, both these, literal meaning is not, even if it makes sense to us, it is not what the speaker wants us to know. It is the indicated meaning that is required. Now, there are some third type of statements also, where again the literal meaning may not make sense, but indicated meaning has to be found. What is there? The third statement, type of statement, is like this happens in our homes also, that some relative will come after many, many years. Say 20 years after they come, first time they are meeting. Now this child who was maybe 6 months old that time, now 20 years later is a 20-year-old now. So, you say, Hare, this is that child. क्या ये वही बच्चा है? Now, literal meaning if we see, कैसे हो सकता है? That बच्चा could not even walk, could not talk, was this small. How can you say ये वही बच्चा है? How can it be the same? But what is the indicated meaning? It is, I am not talking about the size, the weight, the abilities, the behavior. I am not talking about that, because that here and there both are different. So that part of that bachcha and this youngster, remove it. But retain the identity that it is your son and now also it is your son. So the same identity is there. The size and the behavior and all may be different. But, so whatever is different, give it up, and what is same, go and look at it, then you will find that it is indeed the same bachcha. 3 types. Now we will just put Sanskrit words here. Then this verse will come. Okay. So now, literal meaning is called Vachya Artha. Vachya Artha. Artha means meaning. Vachya means literal. Vachya Artha means literal meaning. Indicated meaning is called Lakshya Artha. Lakshya Artha. Vachyartha means literal meaning. Lakshyartha means indicated meaning. When the meaning of this Vachyartha is completely given up and something new has to be understood as the Lakshyartha, then that is called, these are all called Lakshana. Lakshana means that which indicates, implies. Implication is called Lakshana. So we do not take up the Vachyartha. The Lakshyartha is what we are interested in. Even in common communication, we need Lakshyartha to understand. Otherwise, Vachyartha will not make sense. So, for whether it is a scriptural injunction or a common day-to-day communication, how is Lakshyartha arrived at? One type of Vachyartha has to be given up completely and something else is the Lakshyartha that has to be understood. Like, my house is on the highway. That cannot be possible. So, you give it up and say it is near the highway. Something else indicated by that. But still on the highway only we will say, मेरा घर हाईवे पे ही है. We will say that only, but we mean uske paas hai. This lakshana or this way of implication and arriving at the indicated meaning lakshartha is called jahat lakshana. Jahat or jahati. Jahati it is called. Okay. Second type of lakshana where nothing is given up, the Vachyartha is, everything of the Vachyartha is retained, but also some extra words are supplied to arrive at the Lakshyartha. That it is called Ajahat Lakshana, not giving up anything. Jahat means giving up the whole thing. Ajahat Lakshana, Ajahati means not giving up. This is second type. So some statements we have to arrive at the Lakshyartha by Jahat Lakshana. When it comes in Sandhi, it is called Jahal Lakshana in Sandhi. And in the case of certain other statements, we arrive at the lakshyartha through ajahal lakshana, means not giving up anything but supplying more information to arrive at the indicated meaning. So far clear? Right? Right. Now, the third type of statements where those distinct parts or there are differences that is given up and that rest is retained. So some part is given up and rest is retained, nothing new is added. See, Jahal Lakshana, the whole thing is given up. So that is not in the case of this third one. Ajahal Lakshana, something is added, nothing is added here also. But little bit is given up, little bit is retained. In Ajahal Lakshana, everything is retained. Jahal Lakshana, everything is given up. Here, little bit retained, little bit given up. This combination, this is called Jahat, Ajahat Lakshana. Okay. So when it gets into Sandhi, it is called Jahad Ajahal Lakshana. To make it complicated and sound very scholarly, we can say, to make our life more miserable, we can call it Jahad Ajahal Lakshana. People will get impressed. So there is another name also for people like us that don't get afraid of Jahad Ajahal Lakshana. Simpler name is Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana. Easier. Bhaga Tyaga means what? That part which is different, which is not in line with the Lakshyartha, is given up and rest is retained. Then we arrive at the Lakshyartha directly. So you don't have to give up the whole thing also and you don't have to add anything new also. So we give up a few things and retain a few things. Then we will understand. Like, this is that child only. So here you are looking at a youngster, but you are remembering a 6-month-old infant. So how can this be that infant? So the youth and the infant, that youthhood and infanthood is given up, but the entity is the same. So that entity is retained, but the childhood and youthhood are given up. Bhaga Tyaga. So through this Bhaga Tyaga, we have to reach. Now see, these three Lakshanas are there for understanding the Lakshyartha for those statements which Vachyartha is not making sense or cannot be digested, cannot be understood, cannot be accepted. Now, if this much is understood, we have covered next 2 or 3 verses. Now, what is it? We'll read. Verse number 26. Pratyak parokshadi virodhamatmanoho vihaya sangrhyatayoshchidatmatam samshodhitam lakshanaya cha lakshitam Jnatva swamatmanamathadvayo bhavet. Mathadvayo bhavet. Next verse also we'll read. Ekatmatva jahati na sambhavet. Ekatmatva jahati na sambhavet. Tatha jahal lakshanata virodhatah. Jahallakshanata virodhatah soyam padartha vivabhaga lakshana yujjeta tattvam padayoradoshatah. Now, Pratyak parokshadi virodham atmanoho vihaya. Now, how should this tat and tvam be understood to be one? Tat, the word that itself indicates something far away. You say, that you are. Now, that far away, paroksha, cannot be seen, is not the object of senses. Paroksha. And tvam. Tvam means pratyaksha. I can see. You. I will not say you to someone I cannot see. If I cannot see, then that person becomes that only, not you. You means you are in front of you. That is why I am talking to you. So if I am talking to you, you are there. I can see you. You are an object of my senses. I am addressing you and speaking. That is why tvam, you. So that paroksha. You, pratyaksha. Pratyak, parokshadi. Adi, etc. Now what are the etcetras? That means infinite. You, finite. Because when I am saying you, now it is not infinite that I am talking to. I am talking to a finite entity. So you, finite, that, infinite. Okay. Then that means that even if we indicate Ishvara, the Lord, all capable, Sarva Shaktiman, you, I know your capabilities. See, you does not mean someone else. You word is because Guru is telling the Shishya. Otherwise, for us, we have to understand I. No, I am Alpa Shakti only. What I will be able to do? My capacities are limited. Whereas that means He is all powerful. Acha, as far as pervasiveness is concerned, that all pervading. You, tvam, little. Okay, knowledge wise, that sarvajna, all knowing. You, Guruji used to say, omniscient, little scient. No scient actually. So, the difference is pratyak parokshadi. So, one is in front and other cannot be seen at all. That is why whenever we are called out to God, oh God, where are you? Because we feel far away. And then you say, Acha, that is me. How can that be possible? Pratyak, paroksha, adi, etc. means all the other things that we saw. These are all virodham atmanoho, between these two, Jivatma and Paramatma. So this is also, both are referred to here as Atma only. Jivatma and Paramatma, Atmanoho, Jivatma Paramatmanoho, in between these two, all these virodham, this opposite qualities, opposite attributes that are there, what do we have to do? Vihaya, having given up. Whatever is opposed, give up. So one who is identified with the individual body and the one who is identified with the total, the one with which they are identified, that is different. What I am identified with is different. It is small. What he is identified with is total. So that is different. But the one who is identified with this and that one is the same. Is the same consciousness identified with one single body is called Jivatma, and that same consciousness identified with the totality is called Paramatma. So the consciousness, there is no difference. That is what is said, Sangrihya tayoho chidatmatam. Chidatmatam, the consciousness, that is the self, is not different in these two, tayoho, in these two. The consciousness is the same, But what it is identified with, and because of that, what it has become as an entity, that may be different. Now, there is an actor who plays a role of a hero in one movie, and another movie he plays a negative role. Now, are these two the same? No, one is a hero, other is a villain. Can they be the same? The hero and the villain characters are not the same. But the one who played the hero and the one who played the villain are one and the same. Now, if we say hero and villain, hero of this movie and villain of this movie are one and the same. Now, hero and villain, how can they be same? It is not possible. Or now, some movie news and all, they show, they will bring out something that today's superstar, so many years ago, he was a child star in that movie. He had come as a child, and now he is a hero. Now, how can that child become the hero? But that child and this hero, the characters cannot be the same. The hero and the villain cannot be the same. But the actor who has played both this, that person is the same. So, in this, that hero and this villain is the same. To understand the statement, I have to use Lakshana. And which Lakshana? Not Jahal Lakshana or Ajahal Lakshana. I have to use Bhagatyaga Lakshana, where I remove the character of hero and remove the character of villain. Then what remains? The actor. So this actor, both are one and the same. So similarly here also, Pratyak Parokshadi Virodham Atmanoho Vihaya, giving up the difference or the opposed attributes of this Jivatma and Paramatma, but Sangrihya, but retaining that oneness, which is Chidatmatam. Tayoho Chidatmatam. The consciousness is the same when we retain. Then Samshodhitam Lakshanayacha Lakshitam. Then how can we arrive at this Chidatmata? How can we arrive at that consciousness, which is the nature of both this Jivatma and Paramatma, which is the real identity of these two? How can we arrive at Samshodhitam? Samshodhitam means, one meaning is searching, inquiring into it, thinking about it. And Samshodhitam also means to make it Shuddha. Shuddha means all the externals remove. Then whatever is remaining, that alone is there. Samshodhitam. So Samshodhan means researching, inquiry. And through inquiry, what am I doing? I am making it pure. Means everything else, other attributes and all, clear it off. Then what remains? Only the consciousness remains. That which is Lakshanayacha Lakshitam. That same, these two words are qualifying Chidatmatam. So, by arriving at the implied meaning or the indicated meaning, Lakshyartha, by Lakshana. What Lakshana? Not Jahati, not Ahajahati, but Bhagatyaga Lakshana. So, through that, Lakshitam Chidatmatam, Sangrihya, having retained that, Jnatva Swam Atmanam, and then know yourself. Now, this is what is the real meaning of I. Guru tells me I am that. I understand, yes, I am Brahman. Here the Brahman word will be understood correctly because the scriptures say it very clearly. But I word is not understood correctly because we have used all throughout life wrongly. So I will indicate for me either the body or the mind or the senses or the intellect, all these different instruments, because with that only I have been transacting in this world. Therefore, I will constantly understand I to be one of these things. So, when Bhagatyaga happens, all these things are given up. Then what remains? Only that consciousness remains. And that, know yourself. So, Samshodhitam, by inquiry and Lakshanayacha Lakshitam, by this method of implication, by Jahada Jahal Lakshana or Bhagatyaga Lakshana, arrive at the consciousness giving up all the differences of the attributes. Then what happens? Advayo bhavet. Atha advayo bhavet. Then, atha means then, thereafter. Advayo bhavet means become non-dual. Become one. So therefore, after that, there is no two. Two is till the time I am paying attention to the attributes, paying attention to the instruments, paying attention to the peripheral qualities. But when I understand the nature of it, then Advayo Bhavet, be one. When I start thinking about my lineage, my roots, my where I came from, what I did, now at the superficial levels, हम तो इस गांव के हैं, इस कुल के हैं, इस वर्ण के हैं, जाति के हैं, differences will be there. Either we go on one direction or other. Either of the directions, we will find all these differences start dissolving. For example, we go to a foreign country. External dissolution. What will happen? As soon as I go to a foreign country, my identity of I belong to this village and this family and this, what will happen to it? There, anybody from Asia with a little brown complexion, हमारा है. What happened to the distinction? Dissolved. This is one direction. Or other direction, go further to the root. Okay, this family, acha, who are you? Further, go to the root, go to the root, go to the root, go to the root. Even there, I will go to an extent of I am that consciousness. So expand or completely go to that root and source. Either ways, I am going to reach that oneness. So in bhakti, what we do? We expand. Rather, both actually there is expansion only, but in bhakti, we invest ourselves in the Lord that is expansive. So in a way, actually bhakti, we contract to become, we let the Lord occupy everything. Whereas in Jnanam, I expand to become everything. In both places, there is only one. There can't be two. So in devotion, we say that everything is you only. I am nothing. I surrender at your feet. I don't exist apart from you. I am your sevaka. So then what happens? Only you are there. You alone exist. That is devotion, highest devotion. Where? Again one only. I have merged there. And in knowledge, again in knowledge also, that my real identity expands and my limitations all are dissolved. But here I expand as I, there I expand as you. But both ways, finally only one remains. There can't be more than. So even my own existence and my introduction, if I give at one level, whatever my self-identity or self-image is, I go in any direction of expansion or contraction, I will reach a state of one. So through inquiry, I go to one, or even by devotion, I can go to one. The difference is, in devotion, I have to surrender first. I have to give up all the differences in the beginning. Whereas in inquiry, it comes much later. Initially, I have to myself think that I remains, and it is given up towards the end, the ultimate merging or the understanding of oneness. So, this is a very beautiful arrival at our real goal, real identity. And that's what further he is saying in verse 27, Ekatmatvat jahati na sambhavet. So just making us understand the lakshana, which lakshana has to be used. Because you are saying that both of them are same, one and the same, tat and tvam are one, you can't use jahati, jahal lakshana. Why? Then you have to give up the whole meaning. How can you give up? You have to have the oneness. That is what the Mahavakya is saying. So if there is no oneness, then what is the point of Mahavakya? So you can't give up the whole meaning. Jahati na sambhavet. But there are contradictory features also in that. So virodhat, virodhataha, ajahal lakshanata na. And because there is some contradiction, you can't retain everything also. You can't give up the whole thing because oneness is there, but you can't retain the whole thing because there is contradiction also. If the whole thing is retained, then if the whole thing is retained, then when I say, is this the same child? That child and the youth are contradictory. So I can't retain the whole thing. Okay, can I give up the whole thing? No, because there is oneness. The entity is the same. So I can't give up the whole thing also. So jahati, giving up, not possible. Retaining the whole thing, ajahati, is also not possible. Then what is possible? Soyam padarthau iva, like in the statement of that child alone is this, saha ayam. So in the scriptures, the example given is the names that our ancestors liked a lot is Devadatta, Somadatta, such kind of names. So Soyam Devadatta, that is the statement, the traditional example for this. Saha ayam Devadatta. That Devadatta which I saw 20 years ago as an infant is this Devadatta. So the child, infant and the youngster drop. But the Devadatta, son of this parents, son of this parents, one and the same. So that is why it is said, Soyam padartho iva, like understanding the meanings of saha and ayam, that is this, that understanding, bhaga lakshana yujjeta. Bhaga lakshana or bhagatyaga lakshana has to be used here, employed here. So the same thing, we are just whatever we earlier discussed, that only is there in this. Tattvam padayoho adoshataha yujjeta. What happens? Tat and tvam become one without any dosha, without any fault. Means there is no distinction, there is no separation, it is one. So how? Not by giving up the whole meaning of Tattvamasi, not by retaining every aspect of Tattvamasi, because there are certain contradictory aspects when we utter the word Tat and Tvam. Same way, there is oneness also between Tat and Tvam. So you can't give up the whole thing, you can't retain the whole thing, but you can give up a part of it and retain the rest of it. And that is called Bhaga Lakshana or Bhagatyaga Lakshana or Jahada Jahal Lakshana. And through this, arrive at the understanding of Tat and Tvam. These Tat and Tvam are that pure consciousness which is one. So then, there is oneness, adoshatah, there is no fault, there is no mistake, there is no contradiction, there is nothing difficult to understand. When the attributes are given up, it is one and the same. For example, when there is ornaments, there are ornaments made with gold, then there are different shapes, sizes, uses. Their names are different. One is called a ring, which is to be worn on the finger. One is called a bangle, worn on the wrist. One is called an anklet, worn on the ankles. So the different names are also there. Their shapes are different. Their utility is different. Where you wear them is different. But when I understand, if somebody says, this bangle and this ring both cost the same. How can you say both cost the same? Ring is this much, bangle is this big. How can you say both cost the same? So what is that goldsmith or the jeweler looking at? He is looking at the gold, not the name, form, qualities, uses, nothing. Gold. Now gold wise, this is also so many grams, this is also so many grams, it is the same. So, there is no difference. So when I look at the gold, it is one and the same. But the shape and size, I have to give up. The name and form, tyaga. Bhaga, tyaga. So when somebody says ring is equal to bangle, the name form can never be equal. I cannot wear the ring in the wrist and bangle in the finger. I cannot do that. I cannot call it by another name. Interchangeably, I can't use it. So the name and form, there is contradiction. So I cannot retain every part of ring is equal to bangle. And I cannot give it up also because there is oneness in between them. So the oneness part, retain. And here, if we see, there is nothing added also from outside. Like ajahal lakshana, nothing to be added from outside. In the same statement, ring is equal to bangle. The ringness, that is the shape, the size, the name, the utility, that and same of the bangle also is dropped. That part is dropped, bhagatyaga. Then what remains is gold is equal to gold. Then there is no need to say gold is gold. It is gold only. So there is no need to say the consciousness which is Jivatma is the same as the consciousness that is Paramatma. Why do I need to even make that statement? Because it is only one, there are no two. So therefore, when we make the statement, I am the self and you are also the self. If we actually see the self, then there is no I and you. So the I and you, once it is dropped, what remains is the self alone. So there is no two. So yujyeta, naturally be one with it. That is what he is saying. So there is no dosha. There is a beautiful story also, I think it is in Bhagavad or Mahabharata. There was a Guru Shishya. Ribhu and Nidaga. Ribhu and Nidaga, Guru Shishya were there. And this Shishya, he was a very sharp disciple, but somehow he got lost in the worldly affairs and all. The Guru felt a lot of compassion. So he felt that, okay, let me go and remind him of all the knowledge. So the Guru comes, and this um, Shishya is there waiting for the king to arrive. So the whole procession is coming, and the king with all his paraphernalia is arriving. So the Guru is saying that, who is coming? What is happening here? The king is coming. Oh, king is coming. Where is he coming from? He is coming in that direction. I am not able to see. I am so short, and so much of crowd is there. I am not able to see. Okay. So then the student says, okay, he's an old person, because he's come disguised. So some old person, okay, I will go on my force and you stand on me, and then you will be able to see. So he said, okay, that is so kind of you. So he goes on his force, and then the Guru stands up and said, yeah, I can see. But are you able to see? No, that fellow is down. So how can I see? Said, why? Said, because you are on top and I am at the bottom. So therefore you can see and I can't see. So then the Guru at that time says, just how the Guru blesses. He says, I understood can see, cannot see. I understand top and bottom. But you said something about you and I. What is that? So the Shishya immediately, and then the Guru got off. Shishya immediately went flat on the ground, said, oh Guru, thank you for reminding me and pulling me back on the path. Because what you are lost in is the paraphernalia. Once you drop it, what remains is one consciousness only. So why are you lost in all this you and I? This is relatively, yes, top, bottom, all these things is okay, but what is the you and I? What Guru's grace. And that Shishya was so sharp, he knew exactly what the Guru wants to say. He immediately fell at his feet. And he said, thank you for again waking me up. So this, once I know it, I drop off the non-essentials, then what remains is that one consciousness only. After that, I don't have to do anything, or I don't have to try and equate the thing. Then only one will remain. Now, he is saying what we have to drop off, that is called Anatma, the not self. Then what remains will be the self only. So, know that self, and as Bhagavan earlier said, Sukhi Bhavet, be happy. So now, what is that which has to be dropped off? So that is also very important to know. So in Tattvamasi also, what are the parts that have to be dropped off so that what remains is that consciousness. So here, what part of me, it is not what part of God I have to drop. I have to work on my identity. So what part of me I have to drop? So what is that not self? What is that anatma? So the first layer. Oh, so there are many layers. Yeah. So it is said we have 3 bodies. So one by one, now Bhagavan is talking about one by one the bodies, which, what is the purpose of talking about the bodies? To know what is to be removed. See, when we eat a fruit or a vegetable also, we peel and eat. So I have to know which is the peel and how thick it is. Sometimes when I am, using onion in my cooking, I should know till where the peel is, and after that till from where the onion starts. Otherwise it will look like peel only. I keep on peeling, 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 nothing remains. So what is the peel? Where does the peel stop? And beyond that, the fruit or the vegetable starts. I should know that. Some vegetables have very thick peels. Some fruits, like jackfruit and all, pineapples, different type of peels are there. And some of them very thin layer. Sometimes you can eat them also. It is not harmful. So, we have to know the peel also. Otherwise, sometimes we ask, tell me about the self. What is this? Not self, not self. I don't want to know Anatma. I have come here to know Atma. But if we do not recognize Anatma, we will not be able to peel it off. Then how will we reach Atma? And Atma is not something that can be indicated, but Anatma can be indicated. So he said, you know Anatma and give it up. What will remain is Atma only. Because I cannot give Atma up. Because Atma means what? I. So how can I give up I? Not possible. But I can give up not I. But I have taken that not I to be I. So I have to correct myself, that's all. So that is why Anatma is important to be known. And that is why now Bhagavan is talking about the Sharira. So first, this gross body, Sthula Sharira. So he is saying, Rasadi Panchikrita Bhuta Sambhavam Bhogalayam Dukkha Sukhadi Karmanam Sukhadi Karmanam Shariramādyantavadādi karmajam Adyantavadādi karmajam Māyāmayam Sthulamupādhimatmanah. Rasa. Rasa means earth. This earth is called Rasa, one of the names of earth. Dhara, Rasa, Prithvi. Rasa, Adi, Bhuta. These 5 elements starting from earth. So the grossest is the earth. Then subtler than earth is water. Subtler than water is fire. Subtler than fire is air. Subtler than air is space. So the space, air, fire, water, earth, these 5 are called Pancha Mahabhuta, 5 elements. These 5 elements, Panchikrita means which have undergone the process of grossification. The gross 5 elements. Gross means that which can be perceived with the senses. Subtle means which cannot be perceived with the senses. So now gross body, we call it gross body because we can see it, touch it. So it can be perceived with the senses. Now this perceivable gross body will be formed with gross 5 elements only. So what is the building block of this gross body? It is the 5 elements which are gross. So the gross 5 elements, Sthula Panchamahabhuta is the building block, material cause of the Sthula Sharira. Sthulam Upadhim Atmanah. Last line. Atmanah Sthula Upadhi. So it is the gross Upadhi. Upadhi means instrument or adjunct. Upadhi is that which is associated with it. So the Atma is identified with this Sthula Sharira. That is why it is called Sthula Upadhi. Means I identify with it and I consider myself only to be limited by this. This is called Upadhi. So this Sthula Upadhi is made up of Sthula Panchamahabhuta. Okay. Now if all bodies are made up of Sthula Panchamahabhuta, what is its use? Is it common use? Said, of course, common use. What? Bhogalayam. Alayam means place, house. House of all experiences. Where do we experience everything? Whether physical, emotional, intellectual, whichever way, whatever we experience, this is the house of experience. This is the place where we experience everything. So, bhoga alayam. So its use is same, its material cause is same. Then all bodies should be same, no? Material cause is same. Use is also same. Bhogalayam only for everyone. But we see that every body is different. Even identical twins, we call them identical, but there will be some distinguishing mark. Something will be different. So, when we look at all the bodies, they are all different. Material cause same. Use same. But still different. What is this differentiating cause? What causes this different? So it is said, Adi Karmajam. It is born out of, Adi Karma means previous karma, previous actions. This body, which is made up of the same gross 5 elements and is used as the house of all experiences, that is Adi Karmajam, born out of the past karma, past action. Now this past action is different. Therefore, bodies are different. So, building block, material cause, same. Use, same. But the cause, there is differentiating cause also, and that is karma. The karma of each jiva is different. Therefore, this body is also different. What kind of experiences do we have in this, sitting in this body, this house of experience, bhoga alayam? But what kind of experience? Dukha, sukha, adi karmanam. All different karmas, the result of which is dukha or sukha, joy and sorrow, adi, etc. Means every other experience. All this karma phalas, whatever I keep doing, the result I am facing, all that I am sitting here and experiencing. This is called shariram. Shariram. Sharira means what? Shiryamanatvat shariram. That which decays, gets destroyed is called sharira. And what is its nature? Now, sharira word itself means that which decays. So its nature is that only. What? Changing. Adyantavat shariram. Shariram is that which is as a beginning and an end. And between the beginning and end, is it constant? No. Sharira means it undergoes change in between also. So there is a beginning. Okay. After that, then it grows, then it matures, then it starts decaying, and then anta. So this whole phase, it goes through many different phases also. So there is a beginning, there is different changes, and finally there is an end also. So that which undergoes this modification is called sharira. Is called gross sharira. Sthula upadi, sthula sharira. And what is this? Mayamayam. Mayamayam means it is existing because of ignorance. Maya word here has been used as ignorance. So it is existing because of ignorance. Now what is this ignorance? It will come later. 2 shlokas later it is going to come. But right now, That much is enough, that it is existing because of ignorance. What is it made up of? Made up of the 5 gross elements. What is its utility? To experience. It is the house of the experiences of results of karma like dukkha, sukha, etc. But it is also differentiated from one another because of karma, because of which it is born. And it is called Sharira because by nature it undergoes change. It is born, it dies, and in between also undergoes phases of change. It is existing because of ignorance, and this is the sthula upadhi of the Atma. Means the Atma is identified with this gross instrument and therefore considers itself to be this limited by this gross instrument. That is called sthula upadhi, the gross instrument or gross limiting adjunct. So why is this gross body being talked about? In order to give it up. Not now I know what is my gross body. Now I am very clear who I am. Not for that. For giving it up. But we need to know what to give up also. Sometimes we peel and then throw the banana. So we should retain the banana and throw the peel. So I should know which is the peel and which is the banana. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ